Okay, I need to rant about something, and I'm a bit frustrated when kind of thinking about this, and I'm a bit like meh when it comes to this. Now, no hate to anybody who's on Power Rangers or anything like that, no negativity towards Simon or David. I'm just trying to ask and trying to get my kind of concerns about this, because I'm a little bit kind of confused. Big Smile asks, out of interest, are Tommy and Kat married in O&A? Adam's comments imply so, and we see them married in the future in Zeo. However, Kat Sutherland mentioned that in one script draft, Trini's death might have caused them to be estranged. Love to know more. Thanks for all your awesome work. Simon responds with, good question. In the writers' heads, off the back of DID Dimensions in Danger, Tommy and Kat are married and parents to JJ. However, David Yost wasn't convinced, so we toned this right down for once and always, and Big Smile responds with, thanks for the reply. It's interesting that David felt like this, as Zeo has a flash forward which shows an elderly Tommy and Kat married, but it's nice to see how collaborative the writing process is and how everyone is involved generally cares for the characters' backstories. Thanks. Now, when I read this, I am very concerned on why Simon and the writing team are letting David kind of like control what's going on this way. The main thing when Simon says David Yost wasn't convinced, why wasn't he convinced? Like, this is something that really kind of annoys me, because at the end of the day, David shouldn't be calling the shots on other characters that he may or may not have known. Now, first of all, we know that he was in Zeo. I don't know if the flash forward is roughly the time of when David left the set because of what happened, which I fully stand with him on doing that way, leaving it because of how he was treated. You know, I would not like to be treated like I would walk as well. So the fact is that I don't know if the flash forward of Tommy and Kat being married is before he walked off, or if he was still working on the show. And this is something that kind of really irritates me, because you're letting someone who probably hasn't looked back at the series for such a long time to kind of get notes, control what you're doing and putting it out there. Now, for me personally, as a fan, I wouldn't want this. When you watch Once and Always, you can see that Catherine feels like she just doesn't give a shit about this, and it's just like, okay, cool, Tommy's there, and I don't care about that. And you kind of think that when it comes to this, you'd want to be a bit more concerned that your husband has been captured by Rita and his life force is being drained. You'd be a bit more worried about this. Now, as I said, David could have been working on the show, but if he left and had no contact with Power Rangers, didn't watch it because he wanted to see how the ending would be, then obviously when he met up with JDF as well as Catherine, they probably would have told him the fate of what happened with their characters, and he probably would have gone, oh, that's really cool, and then they would have talked about something completely different. And also, I tweeted at him a while ago about his project, the Quantum Continuum, and he turned around and said, yes, he knew about what was going on. He knows that obviously Kimberly dumped Tommy, etc., etc. So when I read this, I'm very confused on why Simon and his team are letting David call the shots. What does this mean? Now, to me, it feels like David wanted to kind of change the characters up a little bit. Could he be saying, okay, well, I want maybe Amy to come back later on, so if she does, they get back together, because they want the original Pink and Green Ranger back together. And if this is the case, then I think this is a massive slap to the fans, because obviously Tommy found the better person in my eyes. And again, I know people will be like, oh my god, but I love Kimberly and Tommy and they should always be together. No, I generally think that maybe Kimberly wasn't the right choice and Catherine is the better one, because it made Tommy a better character all round. So again, what wasn't David convinced on? We know the story of Tommy and Kat. We definitely know it. I'm not going to repeat it. We've already seen it so many times. If you don't know, please go research it on Google or watch the series. It's pretty much like that. You'll enjoy watching the series. So let's talk about if it's the relationship between Tommy and Kat. Now, the writers obviously knew this, and they want to keep things in perfect alignment from what we've seen, because it makes perfect sense. So if David didn't know about this and the writers told him, David should have been like, all right, cool, I understand this. Or he could have literally gone and watched a few episodes himself to kind of catch up. You know, he doesn't have to watch the entirety of Zeo. He could watch that one episode and then watch a few others. Now, I know there are going to be comments down below of people going, oh yeah, well, maybe David didn't watch the show because of the way he's treated. And that's absolutely fine. If you feel like you shouldn't watch the show because of the way you're treated, because it hurts so much, that's absolutely fine. That is your right not to watch it. But when you're writing or interfering with characters that aren't your own, you should be literally getting someone either to write down all the points that go through it, so you can go, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Or you go and watch those episodes regardless of how you feel. I know people are going to argue this, but it's what you should be doing, and it should be the main thing if you're going to be interacting with characters that aren't your own. Either get someone to make all the notes for you, listen to the writers, or go watch it yourself. Maybe he wanted Tommy and Kim to get back together because he's heard the fans so much. He's seen it on Twitter or it's whatever it is. And he's gone, well, maybe I should write that. Maybe I should do that. But again, no, because you're messing with the show, and that's not right. It would be like, say, for example, you take Billy, and we know that he went to Aquitar, we know that he's got Cranston Technologies. But what happens if someone later on came back and was just like, right, well, this is how Billy's written. He didn't go to Aquitar, where he'd be like, well, I did, but no, you didn't, because I'm not convinced. He then turns around and says, we're going to put you as a professor at this university, the highest university out there. And yeah, that's it. You didn't make the rad bug. That was someone else. And it's like, no, I made this. No, you didn't. It's interfering with the character, and it messes everything up, which really frustrates me. You don't mess with other people's characters. Another thing that really irritates me is that we've been told multiple times, once and always is our thing. It is for the generation that grew up with Mighty Morphing from day one and have continued to support the brand. But when you say that you had to tone everything down, it feels like, again, you're saying, well, these people don't understand writing, we can't do this, we can't show it. And again, it feels like rather than making it for the more mature audience, you're actually making it for the kids audience because they want to see more fighting, they want to see this, and they're all okay with this. And it just generally irritates me more than anything because it now feels like regardless of what happens, you could make an R-rated Power Rangers film and then it'd be toned down. Like you could promise that there's going to be this, there's going to be that. And then when it comes to light, it's like, oh, it's toned down. There weren't any fart jokes, there weren't anything in Once and Always, but it feels now that to me at least, it doesn't feel like it was sent to the target audience. It just feels like, again, they're treating us like kids, and I don't like that, and it doesn't sit right with me. Okay, so let's look at the way it was written. If it's that particular thing, again, why David shouldn't really have much of an input on other characters bar himself, because he knows his character, and again, people would have told him. And when you kind of change things, like say for example, Tommy got divorced and he got back with Kim because of whatever reason, and David was like, yeah, I'm more okay with that. It messes everything up, as I've mentioned. It's like when you look at Doctor Who. Everyone thought that the Doctor was from Gallifrey for all those years. Doctor Who is one of the longest running sci-fi shows in the world. So when you kind of look at that, the Doctor was from Gallifrey. He steals a TARDIS and goes off and has adventures to help people. But the way that the new writers did was they made the Doctor an alien who was on Gallifrey, which the Gallifreyans, I think I said that right, the people from Gallifrey, then experimented on the timeless child for the regeneration technique. And thus, therefore, every single Time Lord or Time Lord, Time Mistress, basically everyone on Gallifrey has the ability to regen. And the Doctor was only meant to have I think was it 13 regenerations, and then that was it. And then obviously that was kind of retconned. Anyway, because of the fact that the people who had the Jodie Whittaker series decided to mess things up, they've destroyed a lot of old stuff, and the fans were pissed. I was annoyed because I was like, why are you affecting the lore of a show that's been around for such a long time just for your, the gotcha moment? Because at the end of the day, you just put people off. And if Tommy did go off with Kimberly in the end, or gets with Kimberly because of the way that David has tried to write it, I would be fucking fuming. That I would be like, I'm done with this. You can't change the law because one actor either didn't do his research, didn't know what happened, or couldn't be bothered looking into it, so thought, fuck it, I'll write what I want, or I'll be convincing. Now, again, none of this could be completely true, and David wasn't convinced on how the characters were doing in the first couple of drafts. I don't know, but when I see this tweet from Simon, I kind of figure, does David just want to change everything? Did he want more screen time? Did he want more emotional character development for him and Walter? What is there? We kind of need a bit more clarification, because I don't want to see fans that would see this and be like, oh my god, Tommy and Kimberly are getting back together, yay, and then go around and spread all this, and then there's massive amounts of arguments, and then someone goes, well, David Yost said this and he meant this. So when I see these sorts of things, more clarification needs to be there. it also gets me thinking, did David want these characters to be amazing? Like, or did he just want Walter and himself to be the most focused on in that series? And you kind of do it. It actually more focuses on Walter than I would say with David. But at the end of the day, it does get there and you're like, huh? Or what? With everything now that has come out of Once and Always, I'm kind of seeing the special less and less shiny, amazing, this fantastic thing. I still think it's very interesting. I think there's so many topics to talk about within the special that could keep us going for years. But in general, right now, the way that Hasbro are directing this, I'm not a big fan. Like, they apparently wanted it to be shorter. Then obviously they ran over time. I feel like the Once and Always should have been longer, and it would have helped it. It may have given us everything that we wanted. But right now, I'm just very frustrated, annoyed, and all that combined, because I don't know what would happen next if another one, like, it's just so weird. Concluding this video and kind of closing it down, there should be a few things that I think that any production should have in place for this. Now, we know that there is a Bible, a Power Rangers Bible, which happens for all the show. JDF, I think, had a couple of them. And this basically starts from everything from A to B or A to Z, which is everything that happened in the show from Mighty Morphin, big important plot points, and then obviously it goes into other seasons. Now, I generally think that there should be one for Power Rangers. I don't know if Simon Bennett has one that they go through and they have every single notes from all of it so that they can pull it up at any point in time, or if they're just kind of like going back and watching old episodes and remembering the past and stuff like that, that could be a big thing. But I think that if there is no show Bible, there should be, and it should be updated, and any writer, any new actor, any past actor who comes on board should be actually able to look through this and go, okay, cool. Because if you start changing stuff in the past to suit your needs or to kind of make things a little bit different, then I think that you need to kind of stick to it and not add in something or try and change something that has been around for a very long time. If you want to put your own spin on a character or you want to change other people, run it by the writers, and if they go, okay, yeah, this doesn't completely change the past or this doesn't affect the timeline, cool, we'll try that and write it in. If it's something that does kind of like change the timeline, just say no. The writers will be like, I'm sorry, we're not doing that because it messes up this point, it messes up that point. It doesn't work together, so we can't put it in. I think that's kind of very fair. If a past actor comes on the show and they have not watched their show for such a long time, I think giving them a refresher course, you know, hey, look at the best of Billy, the DVD that they made, put that on. There you go, you've got all the best episodes. Or generally, if David's like, oh, I don't know this one, watch that episode. Again, if David doesn't want to watch it due to the past and he's like, I don't want to watch this, it's too kind of brings back bad memories, okay, I can understand that. But then get someone to watch those episodes and give him the notes, and then he goes, okay, that's cool. To bring this video to a close, I'm very frustrated on what's being said and what's going on, because I feel now that Once and Always wasn't this grand specular that it was. I feel like it's a bit up and down right now, and I'm not kind of happy with that. But yeah, what are your thoughts all on this? Do you agree with me? Do you not? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments, and if you like this video, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check out the channel memberships, and I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help does go a long way to support the channel, and if you want to consider helping the channel, then links to my Patreon as well as the channel members are listed below.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。